Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another guide. This time we are going to focus on the Axie Homeland Leaderboard. So the Axie Homeland Leaderboard is this. I am currently rank 50. It's pretty good. So I have a rank 50 plot, I have a rank 115, and a rank 320. So why do you want to play for the Axie Homeland Leaderboard? It is because you get rewards. So for the first 10, they get a chunky amount. The first one, rank 1, gets 75 AXS. So you have to divide this by 1000. This is MAXS, or this is ancient coins rather. And ancient coins is equal to 1 MAXS. So divide this by 1000. So this is 75 AXS, 60, 52, and so on. So for rank 10, you get 7.5 AXS. And for rank 11 to 50, you get 3.75. 51 to 100, you get 2.1, and 101 to 200 gets 1.3 AXS at the end of the week. So Axie Homeland Leaderboard is a week-long battle. It's a battle of endurance. If you do one day really well, and then your 6 other days are terrible, you're not gonna get a reward. Probably. Very unlikely. If you reach 200 to 300, the rewards are only in-game coins and in-game equipment. So these are the rewards. And even if you rank 5,000 plus, you still get something. You still get 5,000 in-game coins, which is nice. And you get a bunch of equipment, which may or may not help you when you try for the leaderboard on the next week. So this is currently the last day. So I have a decent amount of points. I want to maintain top 50 for my first plot. I want to get into top 100 on my second plot. And then this one is a support plot. By support plot, it means that everything this plot does is to support these other two plots so that they can maintain their spot in the leaderboard. Now, if you only have one plot, don't worry. You can focus everything on that one plot so that you can reach maybe top 200, 100. Top 50 as a solo plot is incredibly difficult. I mean, it's still possible, but you will need to use your in-game gold to purchase equipment, and that's gonna be very expensive. I don't think you'll be able to afford that for long bursts of time. But if you're able to do that, well, congrats and more power to you. But for vast majority of people, that is very, very expensive and not very financially sound. So first topic, if you want to be part of the Homeland Leaderboard, first thing that you need is a high level plot. My first plot is level 10, so this is the one I'm focusing on. The other two plots that I'm playing on are both level 9. So this is the second plot that I use for the leaderboard, and then this is my support plot. Now you're wondering why this is level 9. Why is it a support plot? It's because one plot alone cannot produce the amount of equipment that you need to maintain good placement in the leaderboard. Right? It's very, very difficult. Let's go over to my first plot right now. The other reason you want a high level plot is so you can craft platinum equipment. So I'm not producing any platinum here right now because I'm trying to gather more platinum before I start crafting. But as you can see, I have 69 of these, I have 30 of that, I have 32 of the wand. And depending on the units that you have, you'll want to craft weapons. If you have extra, you might also want to craft armor. So I have platinum armor over here. But ever since I stopped pushing for top 10, I kind of stopped working on platinum armor. I only focus on steel equipment now, steel armor for now. It keeps me sane because it's a lot easier and it's a lot less time requirement. It's a lot less time commitment. But if you're running for top 10, you will need platinum everything. You need platinum weapons, you need platinum armor, platinum helmet, armor, and well, the boots can still be steel boots, because this is like magic and physical attack and attack speed. Meanwhile, this is health, accuracy, and attack speed. So this is more of an all-around armor or piece of equipment, and this is more suited for offense. I'd rather have the defense than the offense. But if you're like really, really trying hard, this is the best piece of equipment that you can get on the boot slot. And look at those stats. So we have agility, we have dexterity, we have accuracy, attack speed, and dodge. So this is the most defensive of all the boots. Next one is this. This is more of an all-around offense because you can see it gives out all of the stats. We call this the Thanos boots. Look at that. It looks like the Thanos glove, but as a boot. I never make these. These are incredibly hard to make. I do not want to produce any of these. If I were to make one of these, I'd need one plot just to specifically make these, and I do not want to do that. I only have 3 plots. So if you have like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 plots, and you're only putting 2 of them on the leaderboard, you can probably make sure that one of them is making it. But for me, with my 3 plots, it's not feasible. All right, so now that you know what type of equipment that you need, right? But you need to have the second ingredient. There's a total of 3 ingredients, right? Number 1 is the high level plot. Number 2 is the plot has to be developed well enough that you can produce these equipment. So that's the second ingredient. So the third and probably the most important is having high level Axies. So if you do not have high level Axies, by high level I mean level 40 or higher, and they have to be high quality. By high quality, I mean they need to be at least 3 evolves. So for example, this is my origin Axie. It's level 60 and it has 6 evolves. So all of its parts are evolved. It's a total of 7 plus 17. So that puts it into the divine category. And if your Axie is divine category, it gets an insane multiplier for its stats. So if you look, this is 2.7 million power. Let's remove all of this. It's 2.7 million power by itself with no equipment on it. If we take a look at lower level stuff, so this guy's level 18. It only has 242 power. So my origin Axie that is level 60 is like 100k times stronger than this, or 1000 times more. So this guy is incredibly strong, as you can probably tell, because it's level 60 and it's an origin Axie. Now if you do not have collectibles, don't worry, because you can still have normal Axie. So for example, this guy is a normal Axie. It's my level 60 Axie, and without any equipment it still reaches 1 million power. So it's still pretty good. Obviously not as good as this one, but it's still pretty good. Now each Axie class has its own set of skills. They have their own role in Homeland, right? So one thing you have to worry about, or you have to be careful, you have to watch out for, is that the mech class, they attack their own teammates. They can kill their own teammates. So if you look at this, if you hover over this one, get overheat. The skill name is error 666. The skill description is get overheat, have 5% chance to deal 30% physical attack to a random ally. Otherwise, will stop taking any action this turn. So it either attacks an ally or it stops attacking. And then the second one is 300% physical attack to a random enemy, have 5% chance to cause an ally to be paralyzed for 1 party turn. And then the last skill, this one is actually really good. Create a shield that blocks damage equal to 200% physical attack. Normal attack right after activation. Now, a lot of people have trouble with mechs because mechs are very hard to use. The only reason I'm using this guy is because he has his third skill activated. And to get the third skill, you need to have 5 parts evolved. You need 5 parts evolved. You need the purple with 3 stars to activate the skill. Purple with 3 stars. So you need 5 evolved parts. You need +5. You need +5 on your mech for it to be usable. Otherwise, do not use it. It's gonna be a liability instead of an asset. So if you're using mechs and you do not have the third skill activated, you do not have 5 evolved parts, or if you use a collectible, you probably need less. But if you don't have this, do not use your mech. It's very, very bad. Right? Okay. Now the other class that I do not recommend using is the bug class. The bug class is a purely support class. So its first skill is it grants an ally with the current lowest speed an instant action buff. And then the second skill is that it increases critical damage for all allies by 20. Alright, critical damage by 50, critical chance by 20. So it increases the critical chance of its allies, but by itself it's pretty bad. The reason I say it's bad is because it only has 625 attack. So this guy is level 46. Let's compare it to this guy. This is a plant, this is a tank, and it can deal more damage. This guy is 1 level higher than a bug, and it still has more attack. So bugs are purely support class, and you should avoid using them because they are not really good. They're not really good. I use it because I use birds. Birds are crit type units. So sometimes the crit helps, sometimes it doesn't, by the nature of critical chance. So I only use it because my guy is level 46 and I don't have any other guys I can pair up with my other birds. Alright, now we talked about the Axies you should avoid. Now let's talk about the Axies that you should use. I use a plant. It's because this guy is high level. There are 3 main classes that you should use if you're playing for a leaderboard. Number 1 is Reptile. Reptiles are the strongest class in the entire Homeland. Right? They are the strongest class. As you can see, this guy's level 50. He has really high attack. He has really high HP. He has really high stress limit. Let's see, who can we compare it to? So a plant is tankier, right? Good physical attack. Compared to how about this guy? Yeah, this guy. So this guy is a Dawn, and without any equipment, it's lower than the Reptile. So almost same HP, lower attack, and decent stat. 3.5k attack speed by itself. So let's go back here. As you can see, this is like higher base stats and a little higher HP. Now, one of the other reasons that reptiles are really good is because they have AoE stun. It's crazy. It's an AoE damage attack and it's an AoE stun. So if you have 3 of these and they activate all of their stuns, the other party is probably already dead by the time the 3rd battle cry is used. And they also have a random chance. Oh, it's a double attack basically, fated death. So it's really good. If you have 3 high level reptiles, all of them level 40, all of them have at least 3 evolves, then that's a really, really good party. But obviously not everyone has that because reptile mementos are really expensive. So the next class that you should consider for using in Axie Homeland are the bird class. All right. One reason why the last reason rather that you should use reptiles is because they can use platinum swords. Platinum swords are the best swords that you can use, or best weapon in the game. It is percentage based, so you get extra attack speed, percent accuracy, and percent damage. So these are the best weapons in the game. Alright, so the reason that the reptiles are the best is because they can use platinum swords. Platinum swords are the best weapon in the game. Right, they're relatively easy to craft, only need leather and topaz, and platinum of course. And no other weapon comes close. It's cheap to make, it is really effective, and 3 of the best classes in the game use them. So hands down, these are the best weapons. Alright, so reptiles can use them, birds can use them, and the beast class. And these guys can also use them. So those are the 3 classes that you should focus on. Reptile is the priority. If you run out of reptiles, you can use birds. If you run out of birds, use beasts. Right? So it's in that order. So the reason that it's in that order is because reptiles are naturally tanky. They have really high HP. They have the highest endurance next to plant class. And then next is the reason that you want to play for birds is because they have really high dodge. They're double the dodge of reptiles. But their HP is a lot lower. So if our baseline, look at this guy. This guy is level 59. This guy is level 59 and he has like almost half HP of a reptile. Right? So if their dodges fail, they're gonna get hit and they're probably going to die. So my runs with reptiles are very consistent. My runs with birds are very RNG because if they fail a dodge roll, they're gonna get hit and they're probably going to die. Right? So yeah, that's the reason. But beasts are even more fragile than, I would say, the birds. So the birds have a defensive stat, which is dodge. Beasts do not. Like, they have medium HP. This is 1.5k, right? This is a decent amount of dodge. They have really high attack, by the way, 1.7. But the problem is when they activate their bloodlust, they cannot use items. So they cannot use their healing potions. They cannot use their stats, stat food, or whatever. So if they get hit and they're in bloodlust mode, they cannot heal themselves. So if and they also cannot dodge, by the way. So if they're in bloodless mode and they get targeted by enemies and they don't kill the enemy faster than they can get hit, then they're eventually going to die. Right? So that's why beasts is the lower. They're all tier S, by the way. Reptile, bird, and beast, they're all tier S. But this is the weakest of the tier S classes. Now everything else falls into either tier A or tier B. The tier F class is only bug. Okay, so let's go over to the tier A classes. The tier A classes are Dusks are pretty good. Dusks are pretty good, and the reason I say that is like look at that health. This is level 53, so around the same range as the as this guy, right? Where is it? Yeah, this is also level 53. This is 1.5k HP. But look at this guy. This guy has 2k HP. Granted, he has +6. He has a multiplier, but he's still pretty tanky. So, good attack. Well, magic attack. You should look at the magic attack more because it's a magic class, right? It's a magic class. And decent defense, decent dodge, but the HP is what really matters here. So, it's like an off tank. They can't really tank, but they can take a hit and survive and do pretty much survive. Now, if you look at their skills, this is an AoE attack, 100% magic attack to all enemies, and have 40% chance to debuff them. So, decrease attack, defense, and magic all at the same time. Alright, that's pretty good. And their second skill is another AoE attack. It's a CC. So, 120% magic attack and 20% chance to inflict them with these debuffs. Stun, Rage, Blind, Paralyze for 2 party turns. So these guys are the setup units or the control type units. And they pair really well. If you look at over here, the normal attack of Dusks are deal 100% magical attack to an enemy with the lowest magic resistance. Erase 1 debuff for a random ally. Now, having debuffs is cleansing debuffs rather is really good if you're partying with a mech because these guys can just paralyze themselves. So if this guy gets paralyzed, you can remove that and then he'll be okay again. Right? That's pretty good. Now for the other tier A class, we have Plants. This guy's level 55. He has 4 evolves. So this is a little more realistic. Of a representation of what you can expect from a plant. These guys are the tanks. Like, they have the highest HP out of all classes. And their skills are very defensive. Like, look at this guy. Increase party defense by 20% for 3 party turns. Then stun a random opponent. Right? Stun a random enemy for 1 party turn. And then their second skill is a taunt skill. Taunt all enemies. Increase your defense by 50%. And decrease the target's physical attack by 30% for 3 party turns. So this guy, if you have squishy units in your team, for example, a bird, having a plant in the party can extend the plant or the bird's or the beast's survivability because the plant will take all of the damage. The DPS classes like the bird and the beast class, they can survive longer and probably reach more floors. Now, this other class that I really like is the Dawn, but this suffers from the same problems as the mech class. The mech class needs 5 evolves to reach its 3rd skill, and it's the same for the Dawn class. The Dawn class is really good because if you're familiar with monks in Ragnarok Online, they're kind of like that. They're DPS, they're support at the same time. I say that they're support because their normal attack says deal 100% physical attack to a random enemy, heal 3% of maximum HP to the ally with the lowest current HP. So every time it attacks, it heals someone in the party, the lowest HP guy. And then they have this skill, which is Soothing Dawn. It says heal 150% magic attack as HP to self or an ally with the lowest current HP. So as long as your Dawn is alive and it can move, it will keep healing someone in the party. The second skill is just a straight up buff. It's increase agility by 20. And then its 3rd skill is increase physical attack by 200%. Now, the reason I say that you need at least level 50 for your Dawn is because of this skill. Without this skill, it's not really DPS. It's more of a support. If you have this, If you have the fifth skill, then its power level increases by an insane amount. If, for example, before it reached level 50, before I reached its fifth evolve, this guy can reach maybe floor 130, maybe 140, and then when I got this skill, it can reach 150, 160. So it's like a 20 floor jump just by having this evolve. This skill rather. So if you're playing Dawns, you need it to be at least level 50 with 5 evolves, which is very, very difficult. So the next class after Dawn is, okay, these are tier B classes now. I do not recommend using them because there's only one left, right? Which is the mage class, the Aquas. Unfortunately, Aquas are not as good as I would want them to be. I want them to be really good because I have one as an origin. I mean, this guy right here. He has 2.8 million power, which looks impressive, but it's really not, unfortunately. Okay, the reason these guys are bad is because they're incredibly squishy. Okay, so let's not use this guy as an example. So this guy's level 48. He has two part evolved. Well, one part evolved and one because it's a collector. Alright, look at that HP. It's level 48. It only has 1k, 1.1k HP. It's really, really low. And the problem with that is they're very, very squishy. They're super squishy. They're glass cannons. They can do a lot of damage. Their first attack, rather, their normal attack, is 100% magical attack to the enemy with the lowest magical resistance. Which is okay. Everyone has, like, their normal attack is usually that. But their second skill is 250% magic attack to a random enemy and decrease their magical resistance by 20% and reduce their defense by 50 for 2 turns, which is okay. And then their second attack is an AoE attack, deals 400% magic attack to all enemies and decrease their magical resistance again and their physical defense. So they're the AoE and single attack nukers, which is great. But again, the problem with them is that their defense is really, really low. So you cannot pair an aqua with a bird or a beast because they're all squishy. You would need to have at least one plant to be their tank to take all of the damage. And yeah, so that's 2 slots already. So if you have an aqua, you need one plant, and then the third slot can be whatever, right? Ideally, you put a dusk, because these guys also do magic damage, so that way you take advantage of the the magic resistance lowering of these skills, and these guys also lower the magic resistance of the enemy. Right, so this is the tier list that I have. It's an updated tier list from before. I had a tier list for my other guide, and now that some changes have been made to Axie, I updated the tier list now. So reptiles, bird, and beast are now tier S, because they're really, really good. They can all use swords. Actually, Dawns can also use swords. They should be here, but the problem with Dawns is they need to be level 50, right? So that's very difficult to do. Very, very difficult. And very expensive as well, because they need 5 evolves on top of that. That's why Dawns are in tier A. Now, plants are really good tanks. They're the only tank class in the game. I guess you can argue that bug class are also tanks, but they're more like supports. Bugs are really they're very durable, but they don't have taunts, so they're still down here. So tier A are plants, dawn, and dust. So plant is a really good tank. They're good supports. They're the only class that can taunt, so they're in tier A. Dawns are really strong. They're support classes. They can also attack if they're level 50 and have 5 evolves. Dust, again, is a support for aquas, or they can be support for mechs. And then we have the Aqua class, which is the glass cannon class. They cannot survive on their own. They need plants just so they can do their nukes, which is expected of a mage class, right? And then we have the mechs. Mechs are okay. They're really good, but they have to be level 50, and they need to be protected as well because they kind of hit themselves. Bug classes are the worst classes in the game. If you can avoid using bugs, please avoid using them. They're really, really bad. Alright, so for class party recommendations. Number 1, reptile. Okay, this is probably the strongest class, or the strongest party. This is probably the best. Alright, reptile is probably the best combination you can ask for. They're all tanky. They all have stuns. They all have high attack. They're incredibly strong. Number 2, I would recommend a plant, a bird, I guess another reptile, or I recommend this one is because this is one of the teams that I use. I usually use a reptile instead of a beast because this is a really strong physical attack party. They're really good, right? They're really good in. This guy tanks, these two DPS. If this guy dies, this guy can stun. This guy has crit, and you can probably 1 or 2 shot enemies, or they can hit something really hard and then the reptile finishes it off. It's really strong. It's really good. If you run out of reptiles, then yeah, you can use a beast, but ideally it's a reptile in the party. All right, now if you are playing a mech, and again, this is only recommended if you have 5 evolves, right? So mech with 5 evolve, you can have 2 dusks. So the reason for having a mech and 2 dusk is because if this guy stuns himself, these 2 can remove the debuff. You have 2 chances to remove the stun on itself. All right, so this is okay. This performs well. It does well for me. Number 3. If you have a level 50 Dawn, it can actually pair up with literally anything. A Dawn, plant, bird, or a beast. Now, this is similar to this one. This is similar to this team, but the difference is you need. The reason I put it at 4th is because you need this guy. This needs 5 evolves. If your Dawn does not have 5 evolves, this is gonna perform worse than this. Like over here, you just need 3 evolves each. 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, and you're good. This party, you need 5 on the Dawn just for this party to work. Because if this doesn't have 5 evolves, it's going to be a support class only. So it's not recommended. You can actually change this to something else because this is technically a healer, so your guys will survive a lot longer. So you can probably put like a reptile here instead. Plant or reptile, then a Dawn, then a bird or a beast. Then it's an okay team. Now this is something I do not recommend. The reason is you need high level stuff, or rather it works for me because my Aqua is an origin. It has an insane multiplier, so that's why it works for me. But for everyone else, if you do not have a high multiplier Aqua or a mage, it's not gonna work. You have a plant, an Aqua, and a dust. Alright, so this is a party I use. I have a plant, an Aqua, and a dust. The reason that I have this is because this is the tank. The plant is the tank. These 2 increase each other's damage. So whenever this uses a skill, this guy's damage increases. Both of their damage increases. Whenever this guy uses a skill, both of their damage increases. They play off each other. They're actually really good. Now, you can have a plant and double Aqua. That also works. Or a plant with double Dusk. That also works. It's a lot worse than just having a triple reptile. If you have triple reptile, 3 evolves each, level 40 plus, this is gonna outperform everything else on this list. That's how OP reptiles are. If you have this, everything is same level, everyone has same level of equipment, this will outperform literally every other recommendation. It's just that crazy. Triple reptiles are so freaking good. So if you have that option available to you, just go with this. Honestly, nothing else beats this. They're just that crazy. Alright? So these are the party recommendations I have. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I think that's gonna be it for this video. It's a pretty long video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And if you're watching this on another platform, please consider giving me a follow. And that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.